I want to reduce spending. I support it, but not just yet, because I've got this project. Well, and I've listened to that. And I've especially listened to it for the past 100 days. Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. And if you talk the game and say, let's reduce spending, and you vote against this bill, in my opinion, you ought to hide your head in a bag. Because you will be able to cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's real hard, Mr. President, to preach temperance from a bar stool. It's gut check time.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's be real for a second. We're sitting on a $7 trillion budget. $7 trillion. Most of us can't even wrap our heads around that many zeros. Now look, I'm a fair-minded person, and I bet you are too. We all know a budget that massive has some fat that needs trimming. But what we're talking about today isn't just fat. It's spending porn. Next week, President Trump is sending a rescission bill to Congress. For those wondering what that means, it's the president looking at the budget and saying, stop. We're canceling these checks. Do not spend this money. He's asking to cut $9.1 billion. In the grand scheme of $7 trillion, that's just 0.1%. A drop in the bucket. But wait till you hear what that drop is being used for. It's enough to make you gag.
I want to say, Mr. President, next week, President Trump's going to send us over what's called a rescission bill. What does that mean? Well, we've got a $7 trillion budget. Okay? I don't know how much of that $7 trillion is waste, but every fair-minded person would have to agree that there's some money being spent in that $7 trillion that shouldn't be spent. It just shouldn't. It's wasted money. And so President Trump and this Congress made one of its objectives trying to reduce spending. Not spending that we need to reduce, but spending that needs to be reduced. I call it spending porn. And the president has sent us a bill. He's saying to Congress, I want you to reduce spending in the current budget by $9.1 billion. And let me tell you what the spending, what constitutes the spending I want to reduce. Well, first, $9.1 billion out of a $7 trillion budget, we're not talking about a lot of money here. We're talking about 0.1%. That's all. That's point one. Point two, you need to look at what the president's asking us to cut out. I'll just give you a couple of examples. I didn't make this up. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Iraq to produce Sesame Street. Maybe we could use that money for something else. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Zambia for circumcisions and vasectomies. The president's saying we don't need to do that. We've got other priorities. We're giving $500,000 to Rwanda to buy electric buses. The president is saying to us, Congress, we don't need to be spending the money on that. There are more important things. We're spending $67,000 to give insect powder to kids in Madagascar. I don't even know what insect powder is, but the president's asking us to cut it out. We're giving $3,600,000 to Haiti for pastry cooking classes, for cyber cafes, for dance focus groups, for male prostitutes. The president's saying, I don't think so. I don't think that the American people support giving their hard-earned money to male prostitutes in Haiti. So he's asking us to cut it out. He's asking us to reduce the budget by $833,000 because some of President Biden's bureaucrats gave a contract to transgender people, sex workers, and their clients in Nepal. The president's saying, I don't want to do that. And he's right. That's enough. You get the idea. That's why I call it spending porn. Triggers your gag reflex. You look at this stuff and you go, what in God's name? Who decided to do this? Well, Congress didn't. The bureaucrats did. It's money we appropriated, but we didn't tell them to go spend money, $833,000, and give to sex workers in Nepal. They just took the money we appropriated and used it for that. And so the president is asking us to do what's called a rescission, to cancel the spending. Now, I have listened. I've been here 8 years, Mr. President, and I've listened to a whole bunch of people talk about the need to reduce spending. But you got to watch what people do, not what they say, because talk is cheap. And around here, I've learned pretty quickly that reducing spending, it's like going to heaven. I want to go to heaven. I bet you want to go to heaven, Mr. President. I bet our guests in the gallery want to go to heaven. But everybody wants to go to heaven. Raise your hand if you're ready to take the trip today. Most people, you are, sir, and I admire that. But most people want to live a little longer. And that's the way it is with reducing spending around here. I want to reduce spending. I support it, but not just yet, because I've got this project. Well, and I've listened to that. And I've especially listened to it for the past 100 days. Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. And if you talk the game and say, let's reduce spending, and you vote against this bill, in my opinion, you ought to hide your head in a bag. Because you will be able to cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's real, real hard, Mr. President, to preach temperance from a bar stool. It's gut check time. We need to pass this bill. I yield the floor, Mr. President.
I didn't make these up. These aren't conspiracy theories. These are actual line items. We're sending $3 million to Iraq to produce Sesame Street. Since when is the American taxpayer the executive producer for International Muppets? We're sending $500,000 to Rwanda for electric buses. Meanwhile, our own infrastructure is literally crumbling, and it gets weirder. $3.6 million to Haiti for, wait for it, pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups. According to the records, that money is even finding its way to male prostitutes. Your hard-earned money. Money you worked 40, 50, 60 hours a week for, being handed out by bureaucrats to fund things that have zero to do with American interests. Here's the kicker. Congress didn't even vote for this specific insanity. We, the people, elect representatives to appropriate money. But then the unelected bureaucrats, the ones who stay in power no matter who you vote for, take those billions and decide, hey, let's give $833,000 to sex workers in Nepal. This is why this rescission bill matters. It's the president stepping in and saying, I don't think so. He's putting a stop to the madness, but he can't do it alone. He needs Congress to grow spine. By the way, if you're tired of seeing your tax dollars set on fire, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button right now. We track the waste so you don't have to. I've spent years watching people talk about reducing spending. And let me tell you, reducing spending in Washington is exactly like going to heaven. Everybody wants to go to heaven. If I ask a room full of people who wants to go to heaven, every hand goes up. But if I ask who's ready to take the trip today, suddenly everyone finds a reason to stay. That's how Congress treats budget cuts. They love preaching it on the campaign trail. But the second the bill hits the floor, they say, not yet. I've got this one little project I need to protect. They want to preach temperance while sitting on a bar stool. It's total hypocrisy. We are at the finish line. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending, or you don't. You either believe $3 million for pastry classes in Haiti is a waste, or you don't. If these politicians go on TV and scream about the national debt, but then vote against cutting 0.1% of the budget, the spending porn part, then they should hide their heads in a bag. You cannot cut the hypocrisy with a knife in this town. We need to pass this bill. We need to support the president in this cleanup. It's time to stop talking and start cutting. What do you think? Is $9.1 billion enough? Or is it just the beginning? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts on these insane line items. If you're as fed up with this waste as I am, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. We're not letting this slide. More coming your way. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.